but turning our attention to the Caulfield Cup and some other Group 1 races around the world now on the Sports Daily. Time now on the Sports Daily to welcome in Terry Henderson from OTI Racing. A big couple of days around the world for Terry. Terry, good morning and thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, guys.
How's everything going with Deakin ahead of the Caulfield Cup on Saturday?
Yes, very well. Phil Stokes is very happy with Deakin, and I think he's had pretty much a perfect prep getting into this race, and obviously he's then got the Melbourne Cup after it. But hopefully we end up with a good barrier draw today, and we look forward to Saturday.
How enthused were you, Terry, by the performance in the Turnbull behind Sir Delius?
No, very happy with that. He had to be ridden aggressively early to get that forward spot, and he was back on the rail. We were very happy with his sectionals, and all in all, it was probably close to a career best run over the 2000. It'll be further improved by getting out to 2,400, but for where we are and what we expect of the horse, we're delighted.
What were the reports ahead of that Turnbull? Was there still a little bit of improvement to come with him?
Yes, I watched him trial about 10 days before then at Pakenham, and he trialled exceptionally well, but he did have another blow, and that really set him up well. 3 or 4 days before the Turnbull, Phil gave him another solid piece of work over a shorter journey, and he said going into the Turnbull, he's just about there. So, for a staying horse, he should be spot on.
Terry, the good thing with this horse, I suppose, is that back in the autumn when he got to this distance range, admittedly in an easier class of race, he really shone through.
Yes, and that's the big difference between now and the autumn. He broke the track record at Moonee Valley, and then he won the Roy Higgins well. But he was racing against certainly inferior quality than he's going to be meeting on Saturday. When there's some nice horses, obviously the progressive horse of Tony McAvoy's as well as the imports. Maidana's a serious horse, and if it takes its game to the races, it'll be hard to beat. So we're in a different class of race, but he certainly deserves to be there on the back of what he did do in the autumn.
You mentioned Maidan. You live in that international space. Can you just alert our listeners as to the quality of this horse? Naturally,
he's a high quality horse, but he is quirky. Sometimes he doesn't take his game day to the races, and that's, to be frank, what we're hoping for on Saturday. But if he does run up to his true ability, he'll be very hard to beat. He's been up against the best of the European stayers. Giovanetto, I think he finished second behind during the year, and he just ran fourth in the Arc. So he's a high quality horse, and he's trained by very good trainers. So they'll have him right as best they can for Saturday.
He's on the second line of betting with Tab Touch for the Caulfield Cup, Maidan. Can I ask? It's garnered a little bit of discussion on the Sports Daily this week, Terry, about this week, and maybe in Australia it shifted towards being the Everest week as opposed to Caulfield Cup week. You speak to a lot of international racing people. Is the Caulfield Cup still as highly regarded now as it was 15, 20 years ago?
Well, comparatively, especially when, you've got the Everest on the same day, probably not. But then it depends where you are. I think if you're in England or France, the Caulfield Cup still has dominance because they don't have the emphasis on the sprinters that we do. But certainly, if you're in Hong Kong, you wouldn't know the Caulfield Cup was on. So there is a real difference, and this Everest this year is going to be a sensational race from an international perspective because you've got all of Asia's eyes on it, and it would actually be a remarkable thing for racing. In this part of the world, should a King Rising win it, because the prominence of the Everest to just rocket further than what it has.
Yeah, is it still a special race to you, the Caulfield Cup?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the great staying races of Australia. It's a $5 million race. it won't be of the same high quality as the Melbourne Cup appears to be. The Melbourne Cup this year looks to be a really high quality race. But it is, got that tradition. It's actually 30 years ago, this Caulfield Cup, since we last won it. So we'd love to be there again. It is still a very special race. But, it perhaps has lost a little bit of its lustre comparatively, not necessarily for the more traditionalists like me that, have seen this race as a race that's produced great horses over the years.
So, Terry, one last word on Deacon before I just ask you about Perfumist. Is he going to have to produce a career PB to win on Saturday?
I would think so, yes. I would think so, and I think he's capable of doing it. He's a more mature horse than he was in the autumn. We need things to go our way. The Caulfield Cups, you need your fair bit of luck in the Caulfield Cup. There are a lot of horses that really are close to each other on class. So that's where the luck comes in. And, I think we're going to need that on Saturday. But, from what we see, we'd be disappointed if he wasn't in the first four, to put it bluntly.
All right, fair enough. A good push there for Deacon. Now, what about Perfumist? Does she take her place in the Group 3 angst on Saturday?
Yes, that's the plan. She had a great prep last time. She had a couple of runs that were so-so going into this prep, and then she performed a career best run the other day. So she's primed. She worked extremely well on Tuesday. Bjorn's delighted with her. And you might even see her in Perth later in the year, with any bit of luck.
All right, fingers crossed that is the case. Sam Hawkins in the St. Ledger. William Haggis trains. Aussie debut, won his last 3. What can you tell the punters about this horse?
A good horse. A good knockabout horse, you would say. William only had the horse for about 12 months. His son bought him. William didn't particularly like him when he arrived in the stable, and then he started to like him when he yelled at him and he started to win. And we then bought him, and William actually has stayed in the ownership. So he'll run an extremely good race. His work in quarantine has been excellent. In fact, he's excelled in quarantine. And so we think he's going to be really up for the fight on Saturday against a couple of very good up and coming horses. So it won't be a walk in the park, but on what he's done so far, he does deserve to be favoured for the race. So,
Terry, as we speak to you this morning, you've jetted into Sydney. You're back to Melbourne later on today, and then you're across to Europe later in the week. Is that correct?
Yes, it's Champions Day on Saturday. I'm going to actually miss the Caulfield Cup. And we've got Docklands in the Queen Elizabeth II mile over there, which is a Group 1 race down the straight at Ascot, which is his favourite journey. So we've got Group 1 races all over the place over the next few days. So it's quite exciting.
Can Docklands win?
Yes, he can. He's continued to surprise everyone at Ascot. When he won during the Royal Ascot meeting, I think it was about 10 or 12 to 1. He'll probably start about 10 or 12 to 1 on Saturday. His form has been good all season, and Harry Eustace was very, very happy with him. I spoke to Harry last night, and he thinks he's ready to go.
All right, and a couple of runners today, including Mark Twain in the Coonji at Caulfield. Is there something you can tip the listeners into today?
Certainly Golden Century in the first. Yep. He's the New Zealand horse that ran third in the Derby. But Regal Lion in the first, he'll be a bigger odds. He'll probably be up at 20 to 1. He'll actually run a really good race. He's coming along really good with Gavin Bedggood. Mark Twain, he's been pulling too hard in his races. We've put a Norton bid on him today. He'll drop back to 2,000 metres. We want to see him relax and finish off. If he can do that, he'll then probably go to the Moonee Valley Cup or the Bendigo Cup, and hopefully win his way into the Melbourne Cup. But he's not racing well enough now. He looks fantastic, is working really well, but he's ruining his own chances by pulling too hard in his races. So the objective today is to hopefully see this Norton bit work as a horse drops back in the fourth. 400 metres.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on the OTI colours in race number 1 today at Caulfield. Thank you very much for your time, Terry. I understand it's a very busy period, and good luck all around the world on Saturday.
Mate, thanks, guys. Cheers.
Not too many bad horses in the stable for Bjorn Baker at the moment, though. They're all going very, very well, and he joins us on the Sports Daily now. Bjorn, a very good morning to you.
Yeah, morning, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Great to have a chat to you again, Bjorn. Were you on that super yacht last night or looking from afar from your Kirribilli mansion?
I don't know about the Kirribilli mansion at Warwick Farmers. I speak to you. I'm driving over the beautiful Georges River, bull shark infested, and there are a fair few sharks in that big launch last night. So I felt like I was the bait. But no, it's good to be involved. It's a busy week, and no, it was a pretty exciting event.
How is the champ overpass?
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled with him, and he had a really good gallop yesterday, which was very much mirrored probably what he's done prior to his Quokka and Winterbottom and successes, and of course when he came second in the TJ and won the Sydney Stakes last year on the same day. So from a fitness point of view, I'm confident he's there, and as much as anything this morning he's bucking his brands off. So I think we've got him in a really good space. I think the gate 9 is not a negative. We're going to be positive, and if he doesn't lead, he'll be outside lead, and I think he's ready to run a race. And if he runs up to his absolute best, he's not completely out of it, and I think it's a race. There's going to be a lot of money to be made for all the punters, because Ying Rising might be the best in the world, but I think he's going to have to be to travel and win on Saturday.
All right, what did you make of that trial? Of course, Overpass was next to Ying Rising in that trial.
Yeah, I thought it was a good trial. It was a little bit of cut in the track, and I think it definitely brought us on. So I think, look, it puts us in the mark with Ying Rising. He's a horse that always finds more under pressure Overpass. So when you look at a trial like that, you could maybe question it a bit, but I think there's plenty left. And as much as anything, Josh was really happy with him, and he was very comfortable how he went, how he recovered, and he's been great since.
Bjorn, you mentioned just before about the gallop and how it mirrored what you'd seen previously, you know, leading into these big races over here and clearly on the East Coast. Is that data-related, fitness-related to your eye? What do you mark that track gallop on?
Yeah, I guess it's a combination of everything, and we do look at the data, we look at the times and the heart recovery, and that's a tool. It's a good tool, but often you can overanalyse it. So we definitely like to give him a really good hit out and give him a strong gallop on the Tuesday before, and then we'll just keep him fresh and keep him in the routine going into Saturday. So it's a combination of everything. Sometimes you can. There's a lot of variables as a horse trainer you can look at, infinite amount really, and sometimes you can analyse to paralyse you. You look into too many things too much. So we tend to take what's relevant for him, but I think he looks great. His work's been good, and we know he performs really well fresh up 1200.
Oh, yeah, ever worried he's never going to come back? For the last 5, 6 or 7 seasons, he just comes back and puts in the same performances over and over again.
Yeah, he does. He's been a remarkable horse. I say he's a trainer's dream because every spring and autumn since he's been 2, he's been competing against the best, and generally he's able to win a race or at least place in the big races. So someone said, what's he mean to the stable? He means so much. He takes the pressure off. He's put us up in headlights. He's cemented my relationship with Derby. And as much as anything, he's introduced me to a whole new heap of friends, specifically in West Australia. So he's been a magical horse to train.
Bjorn, you've been a part of the Everest Theatre previously with this horse. How does this year's edition stack up form-wise, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's right up there. I think, it's definitely a packed race. There's not many horses that you can't mount a case for. So I think there's plenty of depth, and that's even taking out probably Ying Rising. Maybe if he turns up, he gets the real deal. But it's definitely going to add a lot of intrigue. So Yeah, it's a tough race wherever you look. I guess Chris Waller's 3 are all going to be very, very competitive. Briasa is an exceptional sprinter, as we've learned firsthand, and it's a tough race. So I think it's been one of the world's top-rated sprints over the past few years in terms of pure ratings and figures, and I think it definitely measures up to that again.
Will Pericles and Within the Law run in the King Charles?
Yeah, Pericles, he's in great order. He was very good in Epsom. Prior to that, he was...
Oh, the Bull Sharks got him.
Bull Sharks did get him. Yes, that's disappointing. We just lost.
Within the Law.
We were about to find out whether Within the Law under 48 kilos would take her place in the King Charles, but we'll get him back now. We'll see if we can get Bjorn back on the line and get his view on Pericles, and we can ask him about Pericles not only for the weekend upcoming, but also whether Pericles is going to make his way to Western Australia. Was among the noms for our pinnacles as well.
Yep, absolutely. Third in the Epsom last time out, as Bjorn was halfway through explaining. Tramway, really good win first up. Private Eye, we know how well Private Eye was going early stages of this spring, so that form reads really, really well. So Pericles clearly in tip-top order, and then of course 48 kilos Within the Law, running behind Apocalyptic, who might be one out of the box, goes towards 1,000 guineas.
Yes.
I thought the Bull Sharks might have got him, but he's all right. Bjorn, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's actually, as I was going past the Georges River, I was going past the Ready to Run complex, sales at Inglis, and I saw a few bloodstock agents, and I thought I'd rather take on the Bull Sharks than the bloodstock agents.
You ducked. You ducked and wound the windows up.
Yeah, it's good to be back and get out alive, I tell you. And I've even got my wallet. I have to do the Aussie haka.
Pericles?
We're talking about the King Charles. This is the closest I'll ever get to royalty. And you've got a dream. But I think Pericles is going really well. I think he's fitter for his recent racing. He was good in Epsom, and I think he can run a big race. And Within the Law is definitely one from left field, but she's rock hard fit. She's very good in the flight stakes. And the weight for age conditions at 1,609 metres as opposed to 1,600, she gets an extra kilo. So she only carries 48 kilos. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to add a fair bit of intrigue to the race.
Who rides Within the Law then? Is that Rachel, or is she not able to get to that?
Well, it's funny. Look, I can be honest with you guys over in Perth, but I said to my racing manager, Luke, I said, who's married to Rachel, of course, I said, mate, we might look at and Luke and I were great mates, but we argue all the time, a lot about jockeys. And I said, mate, maybe we'll go to the King Charles, Luke. He said, I don't know if it's the right race. I said, well, he said, who's going to ride? I said, well, who is going to ride? And I said, well, Rachel can do 48, can't she? And when he heard that, he said, oh, it's not a bad option for us.
Oh, is it money a great incentive?
Yeah, so we're on the same path. We're looking at it and we're dreaming. But I guess as much as anything, Derby, they're always willing to take a risk and try different things. And Scott came third with Yankee Rose in the Cox Plate as a 3-year-old filly. So he's keen to have a go, and you've got to be in to win. And I think she looks absolutely fantastic today, and she galloped super yesterday. So one thing in her past couple of races, she's run really well without the speed in the race, and we will get speed on Saturday. So that's going to give us a hope.
All right, and we know Pericles was in the nominations for some of our big races over here in Perth. Overpass, obviously, on the way over as well. Bjorn, how many horses have you sort of got penciled in for the trip to Perth at the moment?
Yeah, the Pericles is definitely live. Overpass, we would look to head towards the Winterbottom, probably regardless of what happens on Saturday. We'd love to make it 3 in a row. And I've even got Steffi Magnetica nominated there, one or two others. So I'd like to think we can get 2 or 3 over. And look, it's a busy time of the year, but I'll be missing out on whatever I can to get back over to Perth. So looking forward to getting there.
Just one last one before we let you go. Do you have a winner on the home track today?
Yeah, I think Rapidash will be will be a good chance in the last. She's drawn a bit awkwardly, but she's got a good turn of foot. She's going really well.
All right, race 7, number 6 for the listeners. All right, good luck with those bloodstock agents, sharks and everything else you're about to encounter.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, these Aussies too. Some country.
Chop it out. See you, Bjorn. Thank you.
There's Bjorn Baker, one of the world's great forklift salesmen.
Yes, he is. He's a very good man. So overpass, there's a good push, isn't it? Horse is in excellent order, and the piece of work that he produced this week was something very similar to what he's produced before some excellent runs in Group 1 races previously. So overpass, barrier 9, was it TC? Barrier 9 in the Everest last night there. That gala barrier draw on Sydney Harbour. So
what's going on with the King Charles to 1,609
metres? That's an interesting point that he makes, though.
Yeah. Odds weight phrase 1,600, they would have carried 49.
49.
And because it's gone up in trip by 9 metres.
She carries 48 kilos, the filly.
New South Wales have just changed it for the King Charles.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it? And I think Bjorn, not only there, but certainly during the week, said 49 kilos. You go, look, it is an advantage. 48, yeah, it basically the 48 kilos turned his head.
Yeah.
So now we get to see her go around, hopefully, on Saturday. Rachel to ride, and what promises to be an excellent edition of the King Charles.
Yeah, well, you say Mr. Brightside carries 59 and Within the Law carries 48.
Yeah.
You don't see that spread in the weights too often in Australian racing these days.
No, and Pericles, to be fair, hasn't he been super since he's been in the stable of Bjorn? He trialled up. He obviously, was rock hard fit, or not rock hard fit, but he trialled it with James and then was transferred to Bjorn, had a trial, and then he won the Tramway and then was third in the Epsom. So under 57 kilos. It was a big effort.
Yeah, well, if he comes to Perth, he's currently rated 112, so it'll be interesting to see what he does to those railway weights. He'd be just in under Western Empire and Magnificent Andy, I think, who would still be, I think, both at 113, who would both still be top weights at this stage of the ones we hear that are travelling. Head out to a short break, the news on the other side, and then we'll catch up with Terry Henderson, chat more racing here on the Sports Daily.
Make Tab Radio your station of choice. Each weekday morning from 5:30 with the Sports Daily.
Chris Gangemi and Jason Miller to join us before 8 o'clock, and then the Ascot preview. 8 races on the program from 8 o'clock. Greg L's got in touch on the Retrovision text line diggers. Here we go. Yes. Sunshine in my pocket, race 7 at Caulfield today. Load up and thank me later.
Okay. All right. Currently, just looking. What race did he say?
He said race 7.
Race 7. Trying to find it.
It's race 8.
Okay, I was looking at it in the Coonji. I'm thinking, that's interesting. Okay, race 8, number 5, $2.60. Logan Bates, 58 after the claim, second up. Okay, all right, thank you.
Came flying home, didn't it, last time at Moonee Valley, I think?
Correct, yes. All right.
That was grand final eve.
Now 1,440 metres. Second up, okay. Did you have a thought in the Coonji yourself?
No.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
No, not my sort of... Adam Blanco? I'm sure if we follow him on X, he'll have a tip.
He'll most definitely have a tip. Now, the barrier draw for the Caulfield Cup, 25 minutes away. Half yours, your $2.60 favourite with Tab Touch.
Cross generations today at Ascot. Did you give it any chance?
I did.
Okay. That's the one that I think... I might have one bet today. That might be it.
That might be you? Okay.
That might be me. Slammers text in. It is the pick 22 Sydney want back, which is a stumbling block for Carlton. We need that for our father, son and academy picks.
Okay, and that's the compo for Jack Silvani.
Yes. So Sydney want that included, obviously.
Yes.
And Charlie Curnow. But Carlton say no.
Yeah. So there's a bit of work to be done, it would seem, from Sydney's viewpoint, and the same applies to Hawthorn.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of state testing going on the last couple of days too. Charlie Banfield seems to have performed well for Eagles fans.
That's encouraging, isn't it? Came on in the back half of the year, so that's really, really good to see.
Yeah, dominated in the Waffle Colts Grand Final.
Yes, he did.
That's Van Rooyen. He's a big lad.
Yeah, well, he's like his brother. Brother's a big boy.
Yeah.
He's a big boy. So, I feel for the Melbourne forwards. And Brody Myercheck, he's a workhorse. Well, he's going to have to work harder than ever to impact the scoreboard, because they're just they're very labour-intensive, Melbourne, aren't they? Or they have been, whether that changes.
Clayton Oliver out of the midfield, to be fair.
Yeah, but they're clunky. They're really clunky when they go forward. Yep. So let's hope that Stephen King can address that and give the forwards a chance to show their wares.
Yep, absolutely. They've got enough damaging forwards up there, Melbourne. Just unfortunately, the system's broken down in the last couple of years and haven't been able to use them to their best ability. All right, speaking of ability, a stable that has plenty of it is the Gangemi team, and they've got some nice horses heading towards some big races over the carnival here at Ascot. We saw a couple on Monday at the trials. Chris Gangemi joins us on the Sports Daily now. Chris, a very good morning to you.
Morning, boys. How we going?
Going really well. Chris, great to have a chat to you. Thanks so much for your time. Now, just before we have a look at your runners today, if we can just go all the way back to Saturday, Rosterslav, you must have been really encouraged by that performance in what was a good race. Yeah,
it was a really good race. Obviously, going into a Diggers, we were hoping he was up to them, and he definitely showed he was. He should have got him a lovely run from the gate, and he looked the winner sort of halfway down the straight, just peaked on his run, which we thought he might do. He's quite a big gross horse, so I dare say should have come in and said he improved sort of 4 or 5 lengths from the trial to the race, and he's hopefully got another couple of lengths improvement into his next start. So Shooter's pretty excited about riding him, and we're pretty excited to have him in the stable.
Have you worked out when that next start is?
Yeah, that'll be in the 1100 Placid Arc Prelude, mate, and hopefully he runs well in that and can go on to the Placid Arc.
Okay, so both runs at this stage of his career. We've only seen him twice. Chris, have been over the 1,000. The 1100's the next assignment. Distance-wise, what's going to be his pet trip in time?
I'd imagine somewhere between that 1,000 and 1,200. I'm pretty confident he's a sprinter. And to settle, I think 1,200 won't be a problem when he learns to settle, but at the moment he's just going a bit fierce, so we're hoping with a run under his belt, possibly even a gear change. Very similar to Repossession this time last year, actually. In his first up run last week, Repossession got a bit fierce. We ended up putting a crossover noseband on him. We'll probably give this bloke one more chance. And, if he doesn't sort of settle better next start, that could be an option for him third up.
All right. You speak about Repossession. What did you make of that most recent trial earlier this week?
Yeah, very happy. He's main thing with him is just keeping him sound. And touch wood, he has been all prep. So we purposely put him in the 850 trial, not 1,000. He's still 3 weeks off racing, so he didn't need to go out there and bust his gut just yet. So, Brad, very happy with the way he moved. His sound, going into it, sound coming out of it. Overall time was slow, but sectionals were good. We had the equimeter on him. He ran his last 633 too, and home in 22 flat. So times were, the run home times were very good. Moved well. Everything seems in order with him. So a couple more good gallops and we'll be heading to the Prince of Wales first up.
Okay, so is he Prince of Wales, as you said, Prince of Wales, Colonel Reeves, Winterbottom? Is that the intention, Chris?
Yeah, that's the plan with him, Diggers, for sure.
Okay, so when you look at him, no doubt you've kept a really close eye on him from the last start, I think, which was in the Beaufort, and then he spells, comes back in. What are you looking at as a physical specimen now as opposed to what you were witnessing each day in the winter?
He's a lot bigger and stronger now. Each prep he's come back that bit bigger and stronger. Obviously now is the biggest and strongest he's ever been. He's eaten well, he's holding his condition well. Early in his career he was a bit of a sort of lightly framed horse, but he's grown into a nice big strong horse now. And the main thing with him, Diggers, was over the winter when he won them 3 races, it was problem after problem with them feet, patch him up, missing work, all the rest of it, and we're still able to win the 3 from 3, including the Beaufort. So we're just praying we can have a relatively problem-free prep with his feet, and if we can do that, we should see an even better horse than what we saw in the winter.
You threw in a nomination for the Gold Rush. Is that sort of just hopeful, or are you pretty confident he'll stretch out to 1,400 metres?
That would depend on how he's going, Taylor, and how he went in the Winterbottom. It's not impossible. I don't think although he's won most of his races over 1,000 thus far, I don't think he's a 1,000-metre horse, to be honest. So I think 12 would definitely be right up his alley, and how he goes in that will depend on whether he goes on the Gold Rush. All
right, Chris. Now, this might be a stupid question, so apologies. So what's the thought process with a Calabrese who could have been really competitive today? You've elected to scratch and go to Saturday. Is it gate-related, or do you genuinely think he can go there and win on the weekend?
Yeah, I think he's a good chance Saturday. Diggers in the race worth 3 times as much. So
it was a stupid question.
Today wasn't going to be easy. He obviously had one of Grant Alanda's and a couple others in the go right too. So if he looked at certainty today, we probably would have gone today. But today's wasn't a bad race. He had 59.5, and obviously on Saturday's drawn 1 with 54, and obviously there's good speed in the race, and we think he's up to that class. So we're going to have a throw at the stumps on Saturday.
Couldn't have trialled much better.
No, he tried beautifully. We've always thought he's a Saturday class horse. He's always worked like one. His manners have let him down so far. In the trial, he sort of did everything right, bar hanging a little bit in the straight. So we've got the bubble cheeker to go on race day. So no, we do think he's up to that class once he gets his manners right. And I think from barrier 1 with 54 on his back, not a bad time to try it.
All right. Now, can I just ask you today about Toscano? Is today the day where he can break the maiden status over the 1,500 metres, albeit it is a pretty tricky gate?
Yeah, it'd be nice. He deserves to win one. He's obviously run 3 seconds this prep, including his last 2 starts. So he deserves to break through. And had he drawn a gate, I would have thought the 1,500 was right up his alley and a lovely race for him. But from that gate, obviously we need a bit of luck and a good ride from Stevie. But if he gets that, I'm sure he'll be right to finish again.
You've got a couple of other runners on the day, races 1 and 2, that are at bigger odds. Can you make a case for either or both?
I think the Sessione next prep will be all right. He just seems to have trained off a bit, so this will be his last run, this prep. But hopefully he can run better than he did first up. That horse and then go for a spell and come back next prep. I think he's capable of winning a couple of races, but it may not be this prep with him. But thank God, I didn't mind his 2 runs last prep, and just disappointed with his trial this prep. But his work either side of that's been really good. So hoping, thank God, can run a cheeky race and probably a bit strong for him today. But in a maiden in a couple of weeks, hopefully it'll be hard to beat.
Now, he was nommed for both the Guineas and the Placid Arc, so clearly you have an opinion of thank God, Chris.
Yeah, don't mind him, because that's sort of just in case we've nominated a few horses and a problem. Yeah, but no, he's not hopeless, and who knows what we're going to get if we can get him right and stretch him out over a little bit of ground. Well, we obviously haven't put blinkers on him yet, so there's a bit up the sleeve, and we don't mind the horse. We thought his 2 runs, he was a bit unlucky first up last prep, and then was on the wrong part of the track second up. So he's showing us a bit, and he's working well. So we just thought we'd throw them noms in just in case.
How'd Rock-and-Ori pull up after Kalgoorlie?
Not too bad. Better than the stable after our efforts up there. So we took half up there, and none of them fired a shot. So
don't wear those white shorts.
We're trying to get past that. We've had a few runners since that have ran well, although we haven't had a winner. But that was a disaster up there. So anyway, I'm not sure which race he'll run in on Saturday. We'll just see how the scratchings fall and try and pick the easiest race for him. But obviously, whichever race is going to be, he's going to be up in class. So we'll just see how competitive he is and see whether we go onto the carnival or tip him out and bring him back for like a Pinjarra Bunbury Stakes sort of thing.
How are the plans going for the birthday trip?
Right. The countdown's on. I think Scarley's, what are we down to, about 8 or 9 days off? So he rings me every day and tells me how many days away it is. So.
Well, keep him on a tight leash. Keep him on a really tight leash over there, Chris.
No, I tried that last year. Can't do it.
He runs through the bridle. He need more than a bubble cheeker.
Yeah, I know. And Norton bit for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, great to chat, mate. Well done with what you've got coming up. I think it's really exciting. Rostislav was terrific. Repossession was a very encouraging trial, so that's good to see. And best of luck today at Ascot as well, mate.
Good on you. Thanks, boys.
There we go. There's Chris Gangemi, probably the strongest push. We can follow the Calabrese onto Saturday.
Yeah, I must admit, when he drew well for Saturday, I thought that'll be interesting to see what they do, because he was going to run into Elite Bow today. I'm not saying Elite Bow's over the line, but he's awfully hard to beat, and they've elected to go that way to Saturday. So we wait and see, but, he's a horse who, as you said, trialled really, really well behind Twisted Steel. Pretty Divine ran third. We know that Pretty Divine
went to York.
Yeah, went to York and won, led all the way. So the form line's okay, and he's talented, but he can do a bit wrong. So hopefully with, gradual experience and race now, he can iron out those kinks and we can see the best version of him, because I think there's something there.
Yeah, positive reports there too from Repossession. He's one horse in the sprinting ranks that we hope can make the next step. We saw what he was able to do in the winter, and hopefully if his feet issues are all okay, he can absolutely be the best and might be able to play a part at the pointy end of some pretty good sprint races.
Well, he's a very good horse, isn't he? Like his record reflects that, and we know that, his last time we saw him, he was successful in stakes company, so he needs to be respected.
Absolutely. A couple of horses that need to be respected on the weekend too, heading towards their first up assignments, Admiration Express and Bon Joy. Trainer Jason Miller joins us on the Sports Daily now. Jason, a very good morning to you, and thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, and not a problem.
Great to have a chat, Jace. Thanks so much for your time. As TC mentioned, Admiration Express and Bonjoy will kick off their campaigns in the Eurythmic. The barrier draws, how much of a blow were they yesterday when they dropped?
I would have probably liked a little bit closer in, but one thing with Ascot, you got to be in the moving line coming to the corner. So we're going to be, hopefully in the 3 deep moving line with them, and it might not turn out that bad for us. Bonjoy, she gets back, so Chris on board. I'm sure he'll navigate the best run he can from that barrier.
What have you made of her 2 trials this preparation?
Really good. First trial, she didn't get a lot of room up the straight, and she was just tucked in behind them, and just went to the line under a hold, and then her second trial was really good. Like, just sat off him. I said to Chris, I just want her in a position where she can do a bit the last 300, and he just peeled her to the outside, and she made good ground. And was strong late, so very happy with the trial. She's tightened up nice since that trial, and I think she's come on in herself.
Jay, she seems to get better each and every preparation. Has she made natural improvement again?
Yeah, that's why I like to give her 2 trials, because sometimes in the past with her barrier manners, she's been a bit... when she's fresh and she's up and about, she can be a bit of a handful, but touch wood, she's been very well behaved both trials, which is hopefully she's starting to settle and got that past her now, but she's definitely come back a little bit more settled in herself, and but she does get better with racing, so I'm sure she's not far off the mark for Saturday, because we've only got a couple of races before the railway, so I've got had to have her ready to go. So I hope it'd be nice to win first or second up to guarantee a start in the railway.
What are you thinking her second up run will be?
Asian Bow.
Yep.
And then we'll play it from there. Hopefully we're getting a run in the railway, and she'll go third up into the railway. If we've got to go to Peters to guarantee a start, well, that's an option as well.
So it sounds like she's still getting better, and you can't say that about too many 6-year-old mares. Why is that the case with her, do you think?
She's only lightly raced, a good mare. Sometimes, you get them into a good rhythm. They're just as good or better than the boys, and she's I don't know. She's not over raced, and she's touchwood hasn't had too many problems, and she's sound. So. That probably helps,
Talking of 6-year-old mares, you've also got Admiration Express going around on the weekend. How have you viewed her 2 trials in the lead up to this first up assignment?
No, they've been good. I didn't want to do them too much in her trials. I was just trying to keep a bit fresher, because 1400's probably at the bottom of her range, where she gets better over a mile, 1800 to 2000. So, really happy with her behind the scenes. Her trials have been good. Lucy just sat on her up the straight, and got beat 2.5 lengths, I think it was, in a pretty slick trial. So she did tighten up from that trial, and she definitely looks better for it, and she's up and about at home. So just loading them up now to head down the beach, take them for a bit of a wade. So they're both in good order.
What's the campaign post-Saturday look like for her?
Well, the main target is obviously the railway and the Northerly again.
Yep.
So, we'll see after first up. She'll probably dodge the Asian Bow and go to the following week. And then into the railway, Northerly. I think, definitely the Northerly 1800, I think's her real sweet spot. So I'm looking forward to seeing her over the 18.
Can you get Rocking Society to a Perth Cup this time in, Jace?
That's the plan. He's going well. He's one thing with him. He's pretty tough, and he's a very he's one of them horses. He probably not as brilliant as some other stayers, but he can stay, and he's tough. So. And if you've got that under your belt, you always got to be a chance when you're in staying races. So, no, he's in really good order. He actually, he's funny. I actually work him and Bon Joy together, and on Tuesday he had his head in front of us. So if you're going on work, he's going to be hard to beat.
All right, so you'll be heading to the race this Saturday pretty confident first up over the mile.
Oh, look, he can definitely run a cheeky race, but it's not his grand final, so as long as he runs well, he's obviously going to get better with a run or two under his belt.
All right, is there a winner somewhere else this week? You've got a couple of runners, or three runners, in fact, in at Northam.
Sorry, guys, it just cut out there. I missed that. Have you
got a winner at Northam Thursday?
So, yeah, just crossed over to the Bluetooth. I've got Heraltin having his first run. I think he's a very nice horse in the making. I think he'll be hard to beat. And
Amerta Grace.
I was a little bit disappointed in him last start. I thought he'd be hard to beat, and he was a little bit disappointing. I put the shades on him just to try and make him concentrate a little bit more, but I think he'll be. Age of Grace won pretty well the other day in the same race, so she's going to be pretty hard to beat again. But hopefully he improves, and he's hitting the line, and he might be looking for maybe a little bit further.
All right, fingers crossed for Northam on Thursday, and then fingers crossed for the main event on Saturday. Jace, thank you very much for your time, and all the best.
All right, thanks, guys.
There's Jason Miller taking a look at his chances. Admiration Express, Bon Joy and Rocking Society in at Ascot Saturday, all with bigger targets ahead.
Yeah, exactly right. So Group 1 targets for the two mares, 6-year-olds, and Rocking Society, who showed last time in, was a nice progressive stayer. So he's in the right yard for a horse being aimed up at some staying features.
Yeah, absolutely, and worked really well during the week. Maybe even a touch better than Bon Joy as well. So that's a good push first up. We'll head out to a break. It will be close to 8 o'clock on the other side, and a preview of Ascot with Darren, Scott and Diggers not too far away.